The paradox of the infinite room. Imagine stepping into a quiet, dimly lit room. The air feels still, heavy with silence. Around you, the walls are lined with doors. Each door is identical, wooden, simple, and inviting. You choose one, open it, and step through. On the other side, there's another room, exactly the same. Same size, same walls, same rows of doors. You try again, opening another door, only to find yourself in yet another identical room. You keep walking. Door after door. Room after room. No matter how many times you push forward, the pattern never breaks. You never find a final door. You never find an exit. You are caught in a maze with no end, a space that stretches forever without boundaries. This strange thought experiment captures the unsettling nature of infinity. Unlike numbers we can count or distances we can measure, infinity is not just a really big number. It's something deeper, stranger, something the human mind struggles to fully grasp. The ancient Greeks wrestled with it through puzzles like Zeno's paradoxes. Picture Achilles, the great runner, chasing a slow tortoise. No matter how fast Achilles runs, Zeno argued, he will never actually catch the tortoise. Why? Because Achilles must first reach the point where the tortoise began. But by the time he gets there, the tortoise has moved a little farther ahead. Achilles must then reach that new point, but again, the tortoise has moved forward. This process repeats endlessly. Achilles moves closer and closer, but in theory, he never arrives. Or imagine an arrow flying through the air. At any single instant, the arrow is frozen in place, unmoving. If every moment of time is just a frozen instant, then how does the arrow ever move at all? The paradox turns motion, something we take for granted, into something mysterious and uncertain. Modern thinkers added even stranger twists. Take Hilbert's hotel, a famous thought experiment. Picture an imaginary hotel with infinitely many rooms. Every room is full, yet if a new guest arrives, the hotel manager can simply move every guest one room over. Room 1 moves to room 2, room 2 moves to room 3, and so on. Now, room 1 is free for the new guest, even though the hotel was full. That is the bizarre logic of infinity. It never runs out of space, no matter how much you add. What makes this creepy is not just the strangeness of numbers, but what infinity might mean for reality. If the universe itself is infinite, then it stretches on without end. And if it stretches forever, then every possibility must occur somewhere. That means there could be another version of you, lying in another bed, listening to these same words. Not once, but infinitely many times. Infinity suggests that everything possible is not only possible, but inevitable. That every thought you've had, every dream, every mistake, is being repeated in countless versions of reality. You are not just yourself. You are one of infinitely many selves, wandering through the endless maze of existence. Infinity traps us in endless possibilities, leaving us without an edge, without an ending, without a final answer. And yet, as unsettling as that is, another paradox lies closer to home. What if nothing you see, hear, or feel can be trusted at all? The paradox of the evil demon. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that every sound you hear, every sight you see, every thought in your head, what if none of it was real? What if all of it was planted inside you by a powerful deceiver? This was the question that haunted René Descartes, a French philosopher in the 1600s. He imagined the possibility of an evil demon, a being with immense power, whose only goal was to trick him. The demon could create the illusion of a world, the illusion of a body, even the illusion of other people. And Descartes would never know. The idea came from a simple question. How do you know the world is real? When you dream, the dream often feels real until the moment you wake up. If dreams can fool you, then what if life itself is one giant dream, one you can never wake from? What makes the paradox so unsettling is that it cannot be disproven. You can doubt your senses. You can doubt your memories. You can even doubt logic. Because a demon powerful enough to deceive your senses might just as easily deceive your reasoning. The very tools you would use to escape the illusion could themselves be illusions. Descartes proposed one way out, the famous phrase, "I think, therefore I am." Even if everything else is false, the very act of doubting proves that something exists, the mind doing the doubting. But while that gave him comfort, the demon still lingers as an idea. Because if you cannot trust your senses, then how much of your life is truly certain? This thought experiment laid the foundation for modern skepticism. It also inspired countless stories, from dreams within dreams to the simulation idea behind the Matrix. The fear is the same. What if everything you know is just a carefully constructed illusion? What makes this so creepy is that even if the demon doesn't exist, the doubt never goes away completely. It whispers in the background. Maybe none of this can be trusted. Maybe you are already deceived. From the manipulator of perception, we turn now to another paradox, one that questions not just what you see, but whether you ever truly choose at all. The paradox of free will and determinism. Pause for a moment. Did you choose to keep listening, or was it inevitable? The paradox of free will and determinism asks whether your choices are truly yours, or if they are simply the result of causes stretching back to the beginning of time. Determinism is the idea that every event, every action, has a cause. A domino falls because another domino hit it. A thought arises in your mind because of the neurons firing in your brain, which themselves were shaped by genetics, experiences, and the world around you. If the universe were rewound to its very first moment and played forward again, everything would unfold the same way. You would still be here, lying in the same place, listening to these words. Yet free will feels undeniable. You feel as though you are choosing, moment by moment. You sense that you could stop listening right now or continue. The paradox lies in the clash. Determinism insists that your actions were inevitable, while free will insists that your choices are real. Both cannot easily coexist. The implications are unsettling. If determinism is true, then blame and responsibility begin to dissolve. How can anyone be guilty of crimes or proud of achievements if everything they did was inevitable? If you had no real choice, then praise and punishment lose their meaning. But if free will exists, how does it fit into a universe bound by physical laws? How can something truly new arise in a chain of causes? Some philosophers suggest a middle ground called compatibilism. They argue that free will exists as long as you act according to your desires, even if those desires were themselves caused by past events. But this is only a partial comfort. The unease remains. Are you truly the author of your life, or just a character reading lines already written? If our choices may not truly be our own, then what about our very selves? The next paradox asks, are you still you, or have you been replaced without even noticing? The Ship of Theseus paradox. Picture a ship sailing across centuries. At first, it is strong and sturdy. But as time passes, its wooden planks rot, its sails tear, its ropes fray. Piece by piece, every part of the ship is replaced. New planks, new sails, new ropes. Centuries later, not a single original piece remains. And yet, it is still called the same ship, the Ship of Theseus. But here is the puzzle. Is it truly the same ship, or has it become something entirely different? This ancient paradox forces us to confront questions of identity. What makes something what it is? Is it the material it's made of, or the pattern that material takes? Modern science makes this puzzle personal. Every few years, nearly all the cells in your body are replaced. Physically, you are not the same person you were a decade ago. Even your memories, beliefs, and personality shift over time. If everything about you changes, in body and mind, then what exactly makes you you? Some philosophers argue that identity is just continuity. A ship remains the same if its parts are replaced gradually. But others suggest that identity is an illusion, a story we tell ourselves. We are more like rivers. The water flows and changes, yet we call it by the same name. The paradox grows stranger if we imagine collecting all the original planks of the ship and building them into a second vessel. Which one is the true Ship of Theseus? The fully restored original, or the one that slowly evolved over time? And if identity is just a pattern, then in theory, it could be copied. If someone recreated your body and memories exactly, would that person be you? Or would they just be another ship with the same design? If identity itself is unstable, then what about truth itself? That brings us to the final paradox in this chain, the paradox of infinite regress. The paradox of infinite regress. Every answer leads to another question. Every cause demands another cause. Every explanation cries out for another explanation. This is the paradox of infinite regress, the unsettling possibility that the search for truth has no final foundation. Philosophers encounter regress everywhere. If the universe exists, something must have caused it. But what caused that cause? And what caused the cause of the cause? The chain stretches backward forever, never reaching a first cause. The same is true of knowledge. If you know something, you must have a reason for believing it. But what justifies that reason? And what justifies the reason behind the reason? Eventually, you either accept something without proof, or you fall into an endless loop of justifications with no bottom. This endless regress is unsettling because it suggests that ultimate truth may forever be out of reach. There may always be another why behind every answer, another layer behind every explanation. It is like standing at the edge of a cliff that drops into bottomless darkness. You can peer downward, but you never see the end. The regress leaves us trapped in an eternal search, wandering through a hallway of mirrors, where every reflection shows another reflection behind it, stretching without end. And so the circle closes. We began with infinity, and we end with it. Each paradox loops back into the others, leaving us wandering through questions as endlessly as the infinite room. Perfect riddles to drift into sleep with, questions that are easier to dream about than to ever solve.